Yesterday I picked a bunch of peas out of the garden and I want to prepare them for the freeze dryer. And I tried to look up the best way to do it, but I didn't find a whole lot of information on the best way to freeze dry sugar snap peas specifically because they'll still be in the pods. So I decided today I'm just going to experiment. I'm going to try to do some in the freeze dryer just raw out of the garden. And some of them I'm gonna blanch, and some of them I will try just cooking, and I'll see which one I like the best. I probably won't do all of my peas. I'll just do like a test batch of each kind to figure out which one I like the best. And then after I figure out which one I like the best, I will freeze dry the rest of them in a second batch in that way. I have this fruit and veggie wash from Trader Joe's, so I'm just gonna give everything a quick wash. Then I'm gonna cut the ends off of all the peas and get them ready for the freeze dryer. I just came outside to give the chickens the ends of the peas that I cut off, and they're all standing there already waiting for me. Hey guys. Here you go. I ended up setting aside enough peas to fill 2 freeze dryer trays. And I think that fully cooking them is probably going to be the best route. So I'm going to do 1 full tray of fully cooked peas. To cook them, I'm just going to use a steamer basket and steam them for about 10 minutes. I'm going to do the other tray half and half, and I will do half of them raw, and then the other half I'm just going to blanch them in boiling water for 1 to 2 minutes, and we'll see what happens. Here's a quick look at the peas before I'm putting them into the freeze dryer. They each have a little bit of a different color, so I kind of wanted to show that so that when they come out of the freeze dryer, we can compare to how they actually went in. This is the tray that's all fully cooked. So again, I just steamed them for 10 minutes in a steamer basket. These are the raw ones, and the ones on the end are blanched for about 2 minutes in boiling water, and then I put them into an ice bath. The blanched ones look the most appetizing right now because they're just a really bright green. So it'll be interesting to see when they come out of the freeze dryer what color they all are and how they all taste. The freeze dryer finished last night, so I got everything out right here. I did have a chance to taste everything right out of the freeze dryer without reconstituting it. So I'll bring you in really quick and show you what everything looks like. And then I will taste all of the ones that I'm reconstituting here, see which ones taste the best, and I'll let you know my thoughts on how they tasted right out of the freeze dryer without being reconstituted. So this is what the peas look like right out of the freeze dryer. We have raw, blanched, and cooked. The blanched definitely retained that green color a lot better than the other two. The raw are still pretty green, and the cooked look much more like a canned green bean, where they're not quite as bright green and they're a little bit shriveled looking. But let's give everything a taste and see how it compares. Coming straight out of the freeze dryer, not reconstituted, I didn't really care for the raw peas. The peas inside the shell were really hard. like hard to chew, not crunchy, but just like really hard, almost like rocks. The cooked peas and the blanched peas, I would say, were pretty similar, not much of a taste difference. The blanched peas were slightly harder and the cooked peas were slightly softer. So either of those I would say would be fine. Cooking them is probably slightly easier because I can just steam them in bigger batches. It probably takes me a little bit longer to blanch because you need to maintain the water at a boil, so I can't do quite as many at once. So going forward, I'll probably end up just cooking them, but I haven't tasted them reconstituted yet, so let's give that a taste and see which ones are the best. Okay, now I'm gonna try them. All right, this one is raw. That definitely tastes much better reconstituted than it does right out of the freeze dryer. The peas inside are no longer rock hard and it tasted fine. Now I'm gonna try a blanched one. That tastes good, but the texture is kind of slimy and I don't know that I really care for that. I would say I prefer the raw over the blanched as far as reconstituted. Now let's try the cooked. The cooked pea almost dissolves in my mouth. So on the blanched peas, I'm noticing that it's a little bit hard to chew, the reconstituted ones, because these strings that are on the seams are a little bit difficult to chew. I'm not having that problem with the cooked peas, so I think the cooked peas are gonna get my vote for eating either raw or reconstituted. I think that going forward, I'm just gonna end up steaming all of them and we'll see how much we end up with out of the garden this year. It's been a few days since we tried the peas that came out of the freeze dryer, and I've already been able to come out and harvest a lot more peas. So I have 3 rows of peas planted. 1 row is sugar snap peas and 2 rows are other varieties. And the sugar snap peas are just producing so much. I was already able to come and harvest 2 more bowls full of sugar snap peas. And my first harvest of the other peas, we harvested probably about half of the peas, shucked them all, and we ended up with enough peas for probably 1 meal for our family, which is nothing compared to how many sugar snap peas that we're getting out of 1 row. So I think next year I will end up doing mostly sugar snap peas, if not all sugar snap peas, just because it's a lot of work to shuck all those peas and end up with 1 meal. This was my first year growing peas, and I think that we will call it a success. We learned a lot about what works best for our family and what we'll probably end up doing going forward. I have a lot more garden behind me, and I plan to make some videos on those harvests as well as some freeze drying videos and other homesteading videos. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss any of that. Thanks for watching and happy 4th of July.